Something about the episode 7 trailer for The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 4 feels like the air right before a storm, charged and impossible to ignore. It's the kind of preview that makes you lean forward, searching for every hidden clue in the glances, the pauses, the sharp words left half-spoken. From the very first frame, it's clear this isn't just another summer chapter. This is the breaking point. The trailer doesn't come across as light or playful. Instead, there's a heaviness in every moment, as if the season we thought we knew is about to unravel faster than anyone is ready for. And with that unraveling comes the promise of truths finally surfacing, choices that can't be undone, and relationships that will never be the same again. This isn't just about love anymore. It's about what happens when the weight of all the summers before crashes into the present, and the people we care about are forced to face everything they've been avoiding. The most striking thing about this trailer is how it feels like the culmination of every quiet tension we've been watching since the season began. Episode 7 isn't being framed as a slow build. It's being framed as the point where the slow build snaps. The tone is heavier, the pacing sharper, and even without spoilers, you can feel the stakes rising in a way that makes your chest tighten. The relationships that once felt stable now seem on the edge of collapse. Friends who laughed together only weeks ago now look at each other like strangers. The kind of silence between characters in this trailer isn't comfortable. It's the kind that comes right before someone says something that will change everything. What's brilliant is how the trailer uses these silences as weapons. No loud music, no distracting dialogue, just moments that make you wonder if the connection you thought would survive the summer can actually make it to the end. There's also a feeling of finality threaded through everything. It's as if the characters know they've run out of room to hide, and every choice they make from here will lock them into a future they can't walk back from. That's the danger of episode 7. It's not a place for second chances. The groundwork has been laid in every earlier episode. The half-truths told in moments of weakness, the decisions made in the heat of the moment, the conversations avoided because the truth felt too heavy to carry. And now those things aren't just background noise, they're front and center. Every mistake is coming due. The trailer makes it clear that we're past the point of guessing if conflict will happen. The real question now is just how deep the damage will go and who will still be standing when it's over. The emotional stakes are also clearer than ever. This isn't a petty disagreement or a small misunderstanding. The choices being hinted at here could shatter trust in ways that take years to repair, if they can be repaired at all. The beauty of this show has always been in how personal the drama feels, how much it relies on the little human moments instead of over-the-top spectacle. And that's exactly what this trailer leans into. It's not about shocking you with huge plot twists just for the sake of surprise. It's about making you feel the weight of a choice so deeply that you're still thinking about it long after the episode ends. But the most unsettling part is the sense that some of these choices are already made. You can see it in the way certain characters look away mid-conversation, in the hesitation before they answer, in the way they seem to brace themselves for what's coming. The trailer doesn't need to show you everything to make you feel the inevitability of what's about to happen. That's why it lingers with you. It's not just telling you change is coming, it's letting you feel it building like a wave you can't stop. And when that wave finally hits in episode 7, there's no telling who it will pull under. To understand why episode 7 feels so dangerous, you have to look back at the wreckage episode 6 left behind. That ending wasn't just a cliffhanger. It was a carefully placed crack in the foundation, one you knew would only spread as soon as the weight of the next episode landed. We were left with unresolved conversations hanging in the air, almost like ghost sentences waiting to be spoken. Characters stood on the edge of change but stepped back, too unsure, maybe too afraid to take the leap. And that's the cruel trick of episode 6. It gave us moments that looked like they might be breakthroughs, only for them to dissolve into even more complicated messes. Instead of answers, we got questions that cut deeper. Instead of resolution, we got uncertainty. By the time the trailer for episode 7 begins, the effects of all those choices are already echoing. The friendships we've been rooting for all season no longer feel unshakable. They feel fragile, paper thin under the weight of mistrust. Romantic connections that once felt inevitable now seem uncertain, frayed at the edges by unspoken doubts. It's not just that people are keeping secrets, it's that those secrets are starting to show, slipping out in sharp looks and guarded tones. The world of this show has always thrived on the slow burn, but this trailer makes it clear the burn is over. We're at the explosion, and that's where the danger lies. By episode 7, there's no time left for cautious steps or careful words. The season is too far gone for anyone to pretend the cracks aren't there. Every choice now will be a public one, something that will either mend a relationship in front of everyone or shatter it beyond repair. This isn't the stage for subtle moves, it's the point where people either fight for what they want or let it go completely. That's why the tension in the trailer feels different. It's not the slow-building kind we've had before. It's sharp, urgent, like something that has been held too tightly for too long and is about to snap. The pacing of the trailer reflects that urgency perfectly. Every cut feels quick, decisive, like there's no space to breathe between one emotional hit and the next. One moment you're catching a glimpse of vulnerability, a character letting their guard drop, showing something raw. And in the next, that vulnerability is met with confrontation, the kind that burns hotter because it's been waiting for the right moment to strike. This back and forth between closeness and conflict doesn't just create suspense, it makes you feel like the ground is constantly shifting under these characters' feet. And that's exactly where the show wants you. Off balance, unsure, wondering who's going to make it through the storm intact. Perhaps the most unsettling detail in the trailer is how universal the tension feels. Even the characters who aren't directly involved in the central conflicts look like they're carrying something heavy. It's a reminder that in this world, nothing happens in isolation. A choice made by one person ripples through the entire circle, touching people who might not even know why things are changing, only that they are. And that's what makes episode 7 so pivotal. It's not just the climax for one storyline, it's the turning point for all of them. The trailer doesn't give you a map of what's going to happen, but it gives you just enough to know that the fallout from these moments will be unavoidable. It's a careful balance, showing the emotional core while keeping the actual plot twists hidden. But it works because it lets your mind fill in the blanks. And the images your mind creates are often even more intense than anything you might see on screen. By the end of it, you're left with that restless feeling, the kind that makes you want to skip ahead in time just to see how it all plays out. That's the magic of a well-crafted turning point. It makes the waiting feel impossible. What sets the episode 7 trailer apart from anything we've seen this season is how it blurs the boundaries between love, loyalty, and self-preservation. This isn't simply about who ends up with who, it's about what those choices will cost. You can feel it in the way the trailer lingers on moments of hesitation, those pauses that say more than a full confession ever could. In the past, characters have been able to avoid the hardest truths by hiding behind small talk or burying themselves in distractions. But here, there's no hiding. Every look, every word, every movement feels loaded with meaning, as if they know their next choice will echo for the rest of the summer and maybe far beyond it. The brilliance of this trailer is in its rhythm. It never lets you settle into one emotion for long. One moment you're watching an exchange filled with vulnerability, people finally breaking down the walls between them, and the next, that connection is torn apart by a surge of anger or disappointment. It's this push and pull, this constant swing between intimacy and fracture that keeps you gripping onto every frame. It's not a question of whether relationships will change, but how dramatically they'll be rewritten. Some bonds might be reforged in fire, becoming stronger than ever. Others might snap completely, leaving only silence where there once was laughter. And yet, even in the middle of all this turmoil, there's an undercurrent of hope. That's the trap episode 7 sets. It gives you just enough softness to believe that maybe, just maybe, the damage can be repaired. But even as you cling to that hope, the trailer makes sure you never forget how fragile it is. It shows you parallel images, one character weighed down by guilt, another by uncertainty, both carrying different versions of the same emotional burden. It's a subtle reminder that pain and love often exist side by side, and that even the right choice can hurt more than the wrong one. There's also a striking sense of inevitability in the way the footage is cut. You can see the characters moving towards something they can't escape, pulled forward by their own choices and the choices of those around them. It's not about whether the storm will hit, it's about when and how hard. The space for compromise is shrinking, the middle ground disappearing. By the time the episode begins, it feels certain that someone will be left standing in the wreckage, wondering if they could have stopped it. And the truth is, by this point, maybe no one can. This is where the tension deepens because the conflicts in episode 7 aren't just romantic or personal, they're moral. Characters will have to decide not only who they care about, but who they're willing to hurt in order to protect that care. And in a world as tightly woven as this one, there's no clean answer. Choosing one person almost always means letting another go. It's the kind of storytelling that makes you ache because you know there's no way for everyone to win. Someone is going to walk away with a broken heart, and someone else might have to live with the knowledge that they broke it. By the end of the trailer, the lines between right and wrong are so blurred they might as well be gone entirely. What remains is the raw, unpredictable reality of human emotion, the kind that refuses to be neatly tied up or explained away. Episode 7 isn't teasing neat resolutions. It's promising something messier, more honest, and far more dangerous. The truth in all its beauty and brutality. And that's exactly why it feels like the most important episode of the season so far. The deeper you sink into the episode 7 trailer for The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 4, the more you realize that this isn't just another dramatic chapter. It's the moment when everything we've been holding on to starts to slip through our fingers. The mood here is heavier than anything the season has delivered so far, and it's not just because the relationships are under strain. It's because the story itself has reached the point where the future can no longer be shaped by hesitation or delay. This is the crossroads every character has been walking toward, whether they realized it or not. And now that they're standing in the middle of it, there's no safe way forward. The trailer makes this perfectly clear without ever spelling it out. It's in the way the camera lingers just a fraction too long on a character's eyes, in the abrupt cuts between moments of tenderness and moments of confrontation, in the silences that swallow up what could have been an apology. Those aren't just stylistic choices, they're warnings. Warnings that the kind of summer they thought they were having has already ended, replaced by something sharper, something that demands answers no one is ready to give. You can feel it in the body language of every interaction. People who once leaned toward each other now stand apart, shoulders turned, arms crossed like shields. The smiles we saw earlier in the season are gone, replaced by expressions that look more like armor than warmth. It's not that the love is gone. If anything, the emotions are stronger than ever, but they've become tangled with frustration, regret, and fear. That's what makes the stakes so high here. These aren't cold, empty conflicts. They're heated precisely because the feelings run so deep. And in episode 7, those feelings aren't being tucked away for later. They're erupting, sometimes in ways that feel almost violent in their honesty. The trailer doesn't show everything, but it shows enough to make you realize that by the time the credits roll, the world these characters live in will be permanently altered. The sense of inevitability is almost suffocating. Every shot, every exchange of words feels like it's carrying the weight of everything that came before. Earlier in the season, there was room for misunderstandings to be fixed, for mistakes to be brushed aside with a laugh or a promise to talk later. That space is gone. Now, this is the point where people stop holding back, not because they want to hurt each other, but because the truth has become too heavy to keep inside. And the thing about truth is that once it's out, it can't be put back. That's what makes the energy of this trailer so unsettling. It's the quiet knowledge that whatever is revealed in episode 7 will change the course of every relationship on screen. Even the quieter moments feel dangerous now. A simple glance across a room no longer reads as casual. It feels like a test, a challenge, a reminder of something unspoken that both people are carrying. A single sentence can land like a blow, cutting through the pretense and forcing a reaction that can't be undone. And that's the beauty and brutality of this kind of storytelling. It shows us that endings don't always come in one big loud explosion. Sometimes they come in the smallest of moments, in the way someone chooses not to answer, in the way they walk away without looking back. The trailer captures that perfectly, giving us flashes of what's to come while leaving just enough unsaid to make the waiting unbearable. The most gripping part of this buildup is how deeply it's rooted in character rather than spectacle. This isn't about shocking you with a twist for the sake of drama. It's about pushing people into situations where their true selves have no choice but to come out. And once those truths surface, they'll ripple outward, touching everyone in ways they might not see coming. Friendships will fracture, not just because of betrayal, but because of the ripple effects of someone else's choice. Love stories will either burn brighter than ever or fade completely, depending on how much each person is willing to sacrifice. And somewhere in the middle of it all, characters who have been quietly watching from the sidelines will find themselves pulled into the storm, forced to choose a side whether they want to or not. By the time the trailer fades out, you're left with the unmistakable feeling that there's no turning back. Episode 7 isn't just the next step in the season, it's the tipping point, the place where the path splits, and no matter which way you go, something will be lost. That loss might be a relationship, a friendship, a sense of safety, or even just the version of themselves these characters thought they knew. But whatever it is, it's coming. And the most haunting part is knowing that while some people might see it as an ending, others might see it as the only way forward. That's what makes this episode so dangerous, and why the trailer leaves you with that restless, uneasy feeling. It's the knowledge that nothing will ever go back to the way it was. And the only thing left to find out is who's going to walk away stronger and who's going to be left behind in the wreckage. The closing beats of the episode 7 trailer for The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 4 are where the tension crystallizes into something sharper, something that lingers with you long after the footage fades to black. This isn't a case of the show dangling obvious answers in front of us. It's the exact opposite. The most impactful moments here aren't the ones that shout for your attention. They're the ones that whisper just loud enough for you to know you can't ignore them. The trailer doesn't tell you outright what the shocking twists will be, but it wraps them in an atmosphere that makes you certain they're coming, like the air before a thunderstorm when everything feels too still, too heavy. It's that same stillness, a kind of pause before the inevitable, that makes you lean closer, trying to piece together every frame, every glance, every unfinished sentence. And the more you watch, the more you realize that these twists aren't just going to affect one character or one relationship. They're going to redraw the entire emotional map of the season. From the first glimpse, there's a distinct shift in how the trailer treats time. The cuts between scenes feel faster now, like the story is racing towards something it can't stop. Characters appear and vanish in quick succession, their expressions betraying more than their words ever could. One moment shows a flash of confrontation, voices low but dangerous, and the next, a scene of quiet devastation. Someone sitting alone in the kind of silence that feels heavier than any shouting match. This rhythm doesn't give you a moment to settle. It's as if the trailer is pulling you through the episode's emotional minefield, giving you just enough to understand that something irreversible is about to happen, but never enough to predict exactly how it will unfold. That's the genius of it. Your mind fills in the gaps with possibilities, and those possibilities are almost always worse than what you expect. The real power here lies in the way the trailer frames choice. Every shocking twist hinted at seems to come down to a decision, one that can't be undone once it's made. But these aren't easy decisions. They're the kind where there's no right answer. where doing what feels morally correct might destroy someone you care about, and doing what feels selfish might be the only way to save yourself. The camera captures those moments of hesitation, the flicker of doubt before someone speaks, the way a hand lingers on a door handle before letting go. And in those small details, you can feel the weight of what's coming. This isn't just about betrayal or confession, it's about survival, and about how much of themselves each character is willing to lose in the process. What's perhaps most haunting about the way the trailer teases these twists is how personal they feel. They're not the kind of shocks that come from nowhere, designed purely for spectacle. They're the kind that have been quietly building for episodes, sometimes seasons, in ways we didn't even realize until now. A word unspoken in episode 3 suddenly feels like a clue. A seemingly throwaway moment in episode 5 now reads like foreshadowing.